day with you. It may, depending on your time zone, it is the final stretch here on the East Coast. But happy to walk you through learning about Medium and using that as a platform to do some blogging if that is of interest to you. I'm just curious how many people have heard of Medium or read Medium. Okay, great. All right. Few have. All right. All right. Well, let's walk through it a little bit. Oops, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm just going to do some few introductions here and then we'll get going. Okay, just a little about me. I live in Silver Spring, Maryland. I'm a writer, editor, and photographer in addition to being a Get Set Up guide. I have a degree in journalism. I worked as a newspaper reporter for several years and then as a news director for some nonprofits and businesses. And I've also created blogs for several organizations that I've worked for. And I blog on Medium a little bit, not as much as I should, but to keep my writing chops honed, but I do. I am here as a Get Set Up guide because I really enjoy the interactive learning that it fosters. I love the community building mission. I enjoy seeing familiar faces and meeting new people in each class, and I learn from the learners. Most of the time, somebody knows a little tidbit that I didn't know about, so that's always great. That makes it nice and interactive, which is great about Get Set Up because, let me go back to that, because we do learn from each other. We're trying to help you learn useful skills from people like you, people in your peer group. The older adult crowd. Ideally, we can see you on camera just to create some camaraderie. I know some people are a little shy about that, and I understand, but if you're not too shy, I'd love to see you. We are recording this class. You can get a copy of the recording by emailing help@getsetup.io if you want to go over anything again. If you are joining us by live stream, welcome. The best way to join us, though, is to register for a class, and then you can ask questions of the guide in real time. And Get Set Up, lastly, is not paid to promote any specific product. So anything I mentioned today about Medium is not meant to be an endorsement of any kind. So what I want to walk through today is the process of becoming a Medium contributor, which anybody can do, and how to have some tips on gaining readers and followers, and then also how to track your blog's performance. And interspersed in there, I'll talk a little bit about some writing tips. That'll be part of the gaining readers and followers. Is there anything else? I'm going to stop there for a second. Anything else that anybody was really interested in learning about today or curious about with blogging or with Medium? You can either drop that in the chat or feel free to unmute yourselves and let me know. And I'm also curious if there's anything in particular you want to blog about, any topic, or what kind of get a feel for what interested you in the class.
I guess I signed up just because I read on Medium. I'm too cheap to pay the monthly cost, but just because several, I've gotten I get the emails and several things usually catch my eye. A lot of them, I'm a retired software developer looking to do something else besides program, but still there's usually pretty good articles that I find there versus some other places. I don't know if there's any vetting that goes on, but and then I see lots of others about how you can make, $1,000 a day working from home kind of articles. I don't know how many of those are worth anything, but I find at least the technical articles have been quite good.
Yeah.
So I was just curious to learn a little bit more about Medium in general, and might even, post things of my own up there.
Great. Okay. Anybody else? I see Ellen Sue wanted to know about what's been written about to death. So yeah, we can, that's hard to say. Some things have been written about to death and people still want to read about them. So you never know. But and then somebody was wondering about, is Medium the best? Medium is the I don't know if I can describe it as the best. It is probably one of the most widely read websites, but it is so multifaceted that it's hard to really quantify that in any way. But you know, as opposed to just starting your own blog on WordPress or something like that, you've got a little bigger audience right away, potentially with Medium. So, yeah. Okay, I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Okay. So, what is Medium? Don, of course, has read it a little bit. Some other people have, but if you've never been there before, Medium is, I've heard it described as the YouTube of writing. It is a place for people to post their blogs, create their blogs, and post them there. It hosts those blogs. There are countless blogs on the platform. And so it's sort of like YouTube, where you can upload your own videos, but it's also a virtual newsstand where you can read all kinds of things. There are all kinds of niche blogs on there, all kinds of topics that are being covered. It's got 170 million readers and growing. And I keep meaning to check that figure because I would imagine that's dated already. I put that in there about 3 months ago. It's probably much more by now. Okay. Is it like an Etsy? Not exactly, Mia. I wouldn't necessarily compare it to Etsy, but it is. There is a little bit of a potential money making component to it, but I'll go over that toward the end. So what types of articles are published on Medium? You can read general stories, and 90% of the content is that in that category. It's available for anyone to read any of those general stories. But they also have expert stories. They have articles from top journalists and best-selling authors, leading thinkers. Jerry Seinfeld, I saw the other day, had something on there. Barack Obama has published on there a few times. And so you do see some big names here and there. You also will see them borrow articles sometimes. I guess they license them or something from publications like The Atlantic. So every now and then you'll see one of those. And it is free to read most of the content. You can just go there and start reading. It allows you to read any general article, and you are allowed to read 3 premium stories per month. Now, what are those premium stories? You can, if you're a blogger, try to monetize your blog posts by putting a meter on your story so that anytime it's kind of a long shot, but anytime a paid member reads your post, you earn a little bit of money, but I am talking pennies. So it's not gonna bring you riches anytime in the near term. There is a paid membership that you can get. It's $5 a month, and that allows you to read an unlimited number of stories on the platform. So if you don't want to run into any kind of roadblock with the premium stories, you can pay that $5. And the topics are, Maya or Mia, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. The topics are all over the map. Yeah. So there is quite a variety. You've got a lot of people blogging about politics. That may be one that's done to death. Somebody was asking about that. You've got a lot of money and a lot of tech blogs. There are blogs about gardening. There are blogs about organic gardening. There are blogs about vegetable gardening. So it can really get pretty specific. And you have blogs on religion, on love. There are some interesting true crime posts on there and history posts as well. So there's pretty much something of interest to everybody on there. And if you're wanting to start blogging on Medium, it's pretty easy. You create a Medium account, you design your profile, you write your first post, you click publish, and then you repeat. Now, there are a few micro steps in there, but that is a pretty concise way of saying what it involves to start blogging on there. So I'll walk through what that looks like by opening up my Medium page. I'm on here as a blogger, and I'm also a paid member. I do cough up that $5 a month. But as you can see here, just to give you a feel for what it's like to be a reader on Medium, these are a few people that I follow on the platform. So these are other bloggers that use it to post their stuff every day. A lot of people do post every day. I have not been able to be that prolific. And some of their latest content will show up here on this side of the page. You can see some of the topics I follow. And down here, they present you with some of the big articles trending on there. Here, like I said, there's Barack Obama. And then you go down here and there are some other articles related to things that I might be interested in. They kind of have an algorithm to figure that out. And they have some suggestions for other people to follow. And these are articles that I have bookmarked because I want to read them and haven't had time to yet. So when I go to write on here, you'll see I can either click on this or let me backtrack. You're going to want to set up an account. So basically you're registering as a contributor. So when you do that, it's pretty simple. You just go to medium.com, you sign up, and you create a profile. And you can sign up either by signing in with your email and creating a password, or you can go directly in by signing up via your Facebook account or a Google account. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Facebook sometimes is easy. You don't have to worry about creating a new password or anything like that. You can just dive right in, but it's whatever you feel safe doing. And from there, you just start creating a profile. So here is an example of my profile. I go in here to settings, right in here. And here is where I set everything up. I put in my name and I write, they give you a very brief amount of space to write a little bio. Now I wrote for mine more about what I like to blog about, subject matter I'm sort of interested in than anything else about myself. But that you can type in there, and then you can add your photo, just a headshot of yourself, and that will appear on your profile page or on your blog page, as well as with any posts. So that's all there is to it. So all you need to do is go to medium.com and sign up as a contributor. Elaine, are you finding that?
No.
You're not seeing it? Okay.
No.
So if you go to medium.com and have you already been reading on it? Okay. If you sign up with through any kind of account here, if you just go and say join Medium, it should let you set everything up to sign in.
So for example, if I sign up with my email or anything else, where does it take me?
It'll just basically, from that point, it should, it's been a while since I've set up this account, but it should just then take you to a page like this, and then your account settings you'd probably see a little circle or something like this up here. That's
So-
where you access your account.
So top right-hand side is where I should look to create an account?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Counts while I'm out, period. Yes.
Okay.
Email.
So again, you can see here that I uploaded a little picture of myself, and then I can put in, here's my username that I'll set, and then that will set up the web address for my blog. So if I wanted to share this with anybody, to have them go directly to my blog rather than through the Medium main page, typing in a search term for me or something like that, they could just go directly there. And you can also design the look and feel of your blog if you want to go that far, and go in here and maybe add a color scheme in the back, select your fonts, which are actually not all that abundant. You basically have a selection of 2 serif types and 2 typefaces and a sans serif on all of these, but there are settings for both your header, which is usually your name, and then maybe your article headlines and your actual text. And from there, you are ready to get started. Any other questions so far?
Sorry, when you say, Scott, when you say article headlines, is that the overall theme of your blog, or every time you're posting something, you're
Every time-
changing the headline?
Yeah, every time
go
you're
in.
posting a new piece, it would be your new headline.
The topic. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
yeah.
you.
So when you're ready to write, you can just click on here and click write, and it will bring you just a blank page for you to start composing on. Now, you don't have to do this. You can always compose on a Word document and then just cut and paste it into here. But if you want to use this, you just type in, I'm just going to put something here. This is just a little practice thing. And then from there, you want to have a subtitle of some sort. Can't think of anything clever today. So I'll put something like that. And the one thing you want to do then, because otherwise it's going to be read as the beginning of your actual text, you will want to go just scroll over the text, and you'll see here you've got a couple of options, these 2 T's. Go to the smaller T, and that will set it as your subtitle. And here's where you begin the body of your text. And there's no limit on the length or anything like that. You can write as much as you want. One other thing you should consider doing is adding an illustration of some sort, whether that's stock art, stock photography, or something like that. And Medium has some kind of business relationship with a site called Unsplash, which is a website that provides you with free stock photography to download. Here, it's a direct pipeline to it. There are other similar sites, like stock art sites like this, and I'll give you a list of those. I'll even send those in the class notes with the links to them. But here, if I just click here to add a picture, number one, I can, if I want to add my own picture, I just click on that camera and it brings me to my desktop, my hard drive, and I can download a picture that I have stored there. Or I can just go here and do a search. And this will take me to the Unsplash library. I can type in a keyword of some sort, say writing, and it gives me all kinds of art selections here. And I can just keep hitting next to see what I might like. Drop that in. It automatically puts in the photo credit, so I don't have to worry about that. And it's absolutely free for me to use this. But I can keep typing along, and when I'm ready to publish, I just hit publish. If I do nothing with it, it will just stay there as a draft in my dashboard, overall dashboard. So, okay. Okay. Do want to make a quick note. We have a guest, Phil, who is part of the Get Set Up tech support team. So happy to have you observing as well. And again, Elaine, the button to publish would be right up here at the top in the corner. And once you publish that, it's going to prompt you to add some tags. I'm not going to publish this because it's really gobbledygook, but it will prompt you to add a few tags. Those tags are useful. They're going to be search terms so that your post might come up in somebody's search. So if you're blogging, say, about sailing, you could, or fishing, let's say fishing. If you've tagged it with something like deep sea fishing, let's see if that comes up. Well, there is a post about that. In fact, there are a few. So that will be what you're hoping to have happen when somebody types in a search term on some topic you're writing about. And here are some of the tags that this fished through, no pun intended, to find these articles. So you're allowed 5 tags for every piece that you post. So you probably want to be very mindful of what tags you put in because you do have that limit of 5. Okay. All right. So any other questions so far on just getting started writing? There are, I don't know of a site that's really similar. Somebody was asking about other blog sites. I don't know of a site that's really similar to Medium. You can create there are other blog hosting platforms. One of the big ones is WordPress. You can create your own blog on there. You actually have all kinds of templates and things like that to design your blog if you wanted to go that route. This is just a place where you have a chance to, and I'll explain why this might be nice, because you have a chance to have somebody see your work and maybe give it a bigger platform, bigger attention. And I'll explain what I mean by that in as I go into this section. So let's talk a little bit about gaining readers and followers. There are several things you want to keep in mind. One is to define your audience. So you really want to make sure you know who the type of people you want reading your content. If this is kind of a niche, you don't want to go overboard with, sort of inside baseball or jargon or anything like that. But you do want to be able to really make sure you're writing about something that's of value to the audience you're targeting. And then you want to write with authority and passion. Here are a few tips. I'm actually, if you're interested in learning more about just some quick, handy things to remember in writing, I do have I'm launching later this week a course on just tips for better writing. And I'll go over more of this in detail, but one of the things you want to think about is just focus on storytelling when you're talking about blogging. You don't want to just tell your readers something is important or interesting. You want to show them. You want to use a lot of examples and anecdotes, maybe throw in some metaphors or analogies here and there, just to really be illustrative in whatever message you're trying to convey. But with blogging, you also really want to write naturally. Be yourself, be conversational. You want to write like you are telling or talking to somebody, rather than having a thesaurus or a dictionary sitting next to you looking up the fanciest words you can find. And you are also advised to really proof before publishing. And this is a big do as I say, not as I do. I'm not always the most conscientious about doing this. And I've caught some errors in my copy belatedly a few times, but a couple of techniques you can employ to try to make sure your copy is clean is to read it aloud to yourself. That's a good way to spot typos because you're gonna right away identify, say, some words that are missing, which happens a lot. A lot of times we're dropping articles or just repeating a word, things like that. Grammatical errors might pop up that way. There is something on the site called that the site has a partnership with called Grammarly. If you go into, let me go into my stories, and if I click on this, it will go down here and you'll see down here this little button down at the side. This is Grammarly. If you haven't heard of Grammarly, it's like a super or how do I word it? It's a spell check and grammar check on steroids. It's much better than what you get with the spelling and grammar check you have in Word. But it's not foolproof. Sometimes things slip through, but if you use this after you've finished your piece, you can just turn this on and it will go through your entire text and find things that are not only, say, grammatically incorrect or misspelled, but it might even suggest some ways that you could word something in a little tighter fashion. So that's worth doing. The other technique that is always useful is to just start reading your piece backward. Read the last sentence first and then the penultimate sentence second, and things like that. That's another way to kind of get your mind in a different, it's sort of just to get your mind thinking differently about what you've just written. And you also, let me go back here. You also want to be really mindful of your headlines. And, I'm going backwards here. There we go. All right. So there are several headline approaches that really work with blogging and with other kinds of online content. In fact, you're seeing a lot of newspapers take these approaches now too. you know, some of it can border on clickbait, as they call it, but you can do these in a tasteful way. So one of the biggies is how to. That is always a draw for people. Just if you have some expertise or experience with something, you can just plop in a how-to headline, how to ride a unicycle without killing yourself or something like that. I don't know. Anything you can come up with, but that is usually going to attract somebody who wants to learn something. Questions are not bad to use, but you want to word the questions in the right way. It was funny when I was in journalism school, the idea of using a question as a headline was completely out of verboten. It was just, no, you don't do that. Now you see it all the time because it has proven to be a great way to garner some clicks. So the one thing you want to avoid is just writing yes or no questions. And take this first question I have in this example here. Are you making this financial mistake? So if I had worded this, are you feeling secure about your finances? Anybody who answers that question yes, they're not going to bother to read my piece. They don't feel they need to. Anybody who feels like they aren't really comfortable with it might read it. But if I say, are you making this common financial mistake? What happens when the reader sees that? They think, well, what does he mean by this? And am I making that financial mistake? Maybe I am and I don't know it. So I want to find out more. That's a way to, it looks a little bit like, it looks a little bit like bait, but if you really do have some substance to your piece, people aren't going to resent it. Listicles are always good. And that I'm a sucker for listicles. So if you see anything, the best movies of 2020, the 10 worst books of the 20th century, anything like that, 5 ways to tighten up your core, anything like that. Though those are always going to draw people in. I don't know why. Somebody has probably done a study on why those are so attractive to people, but anything that is a superlative or some kind of ranking is going to be a strong lure. You can identify and solve a problem. Just say right off the bat, try this revolutionary method to burn calories or stop wasting money on car repairs. This one, I would love to know that. I would dive into that because I just paid a pretty hefty mechanics bill for my car. And lastly, you can just make a really strong statement how why you should be putting away, why you should stop buying $5 lattes at Starbucks every day or something like that. That's just an example off the top of my head, but okay. And if you're ever wondering about how strong your headline is, you can always use a headline analyzer. This is one example. I can throw that in the class notes, but if you click on that, it will take you to a website where you can type in the headline you're planning on using, and it will rank it for you. It will score it for you, I should say. And the score is based on how much emotion might be in the headline, how concise it is, and that they use that to kind of advise you on some ways you might want to modify the headline if it doesn't look like it's going to be a real winner.
Scott.
Yes.
Yeah, hi. May I ask, this slide, is this a list in order? Is this a list randomly ordered, or is it that the how-tos are perhaps more effective in attracting attentions and the questions? Is it hierarchical
No.
or
Just random.
random?
Yeah, random order. So any of these should work. Or
Okay.
they should, yeah, they
Right.
are going to be better than writing just some very dull
Right.
headline. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
And somebody was asking about getting to Grammarly. Again, you'll want to look down in the right corner of your copy, and you should find a little button there. And if you click on that, it will open Grammarly and it will give you an interface like this and just kind of go through your copy, spotting errors and things like that. The other thing that Grammarly will do is to kind of measure based on what you're trying to browse in the reader, or what kind of reader you're trying to target. If you're looking to hit a professional audience, if you're trying to be formal versus casual, if you're trying to be opinionated versus neutral, it will score you on that as well. And Elaine asked an interesting question about how long each post should be. And, there is no general consensus on that. I have heard some people say you never want to write a blog post that is over 800 words. And other people say it should be at least 1,500 words. So I think you should write for what you think your viewpoint is worth. And you can always go back and kind of gingerly go through your copy and excise some things that may be redundant or something like that. But I would not get too hung up on the length. I have seen some really long pieces in here, and I read those all the way through. So
does it keep, does it keep track of your words?
That's a good question. I'm trying to remember if it does give you your word count. You know what it does more than word count is, if you'll notice some of the way it kind of measures it is by, and I don't know how they determine this. Maybe it is by a word count, but you'll see here, it always says 7-minute read, 11-minute read. And I don't know how they determine that. And some people read more slowly than others. But let me go into one of my posts and see if I've got anything about. All right. So no word count, but it says this is a 3-minute read. This is just a little tongue-in-cheek thing that I wrote, and nothing about a word count, but apparently the average person should be able to read this in 3 minutes. Okay. And I did mention artwork. You want to use a good image, and there are several sources for that besides Unsplash. And, I keep going the wrong direction. Sorry about that. So here is the list. And again, I will include these in the class notes I sent out afterward, but Unsplash is the biggie, of course, and that's a really easy one to use on Medium, but there's also one called Pixabay, and Pexels is another big one. And some of these others I have listed here. I have not used these 3 at the bottom nearly as much, but the top 3, I've found all kinds of useful illustrations for different things that I've needed illustrations for. So and I teach a lot of photography classes on Get Set Up. So a lot of times I actually grab some pictures that I think are really, uh, really well done on one of these platforms. So
Scott, can somebody, I would probably use my own pictures.
yeah,
But can somebody then appropriate them?
not legally. um,
I mean, you wouldn't be putting picture by your name or something within what you're writing. In other words, photo by me somewhere, or
you could give yourself a photo credit. In fact, it might not be a bad idea doing that. One thing to keep in mind, if you're using your own image, you just because you took that image, you own the copyright to that image. So if somebody uses that without your permission, it's actionable. You can,
Right.
you know, at the very least, tell them to cease and desist and take it down off their site.
Where would you recommend that you give yourself the photo credit? In other words, you've got the title and then you've got the subtitle, but where in this?
There is usually a little space down here where you can add. And I have not, trying to remember if anything I've used from something other than Unsplash, I've had to type in that credit. Well, I know I've typed it in, but I'm trying to remember how I did it. But yeah, any place in here, you can always, if nothing else, you can just put
it in the body of your blog. Like, by the way,
in
I
the
took
body
this
of the
photo.
blog and center it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The one thing, you know, Ellen brings up a really good point too, is when you're using images, the one thing I would really encourage you not to do is to just go to Google Photos or Google Images and do a search for something and then just download that and use it. That could really come back to haunt you because you may be stealing somebody's intellectual property, and they can come back if they discover it. They can come back and it's not just an individual. There are companies now that exist solely to troll the internet, looking for copyright violations, and they say they're working on behalf of, say, Hollywood photographers or something like that. But if you're using, say, a photo of a celebrity, I can tell you this because at my former job, somebody did this with a picture of Paris Hilton, and we got charged $2,500 for using it along with a cease and desist order. And that picture had been removed from the website like a couple of years earlier, but it was posted there in 2007. They used one of those Wayback platforms to look at the old version of our website, and that's where they discovered we had used it. So it could come back to haunt you years later. So you would want to stick to one of these sites where you can be sure that you've got free reign to use anything on there. There's also the option, somebody was asking, can you embed the info on the pic? You could probably do that yourself, say in Photoshop or something like that if you need to. I don't know that there's any capability on the platform itself, but.
Sorry, one more question. So
Sure.
if you are somewhere where there are celebrities and you're taking pictures for your own use, you probably wouldn't necessarily recommend that if you're talking about whatever you're talking about, and then here's the picture, where I'm with blah, blah, or I took a picture of blah, blah, it's their likeness. I wouldn't want to get into any trouble.
Yeah, I think, well, number one, they're public figures. Number two, and I'm not going to give any legal advice because I don't know all of the ins and outs of copyright law, but if it's in public and it's your picture, I think you are probably in safe territory.
Okay.
I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, I've seen people post on Facebook. Not that that's a place where you really monetize your content in any way, but people who have, met a celebrity and they do a selfie with them and they post that on there all the time. So I think you're pretty safe there. Okay. The other thing, let me backtrack here a little bit. The other thing you can do is post on a regular basis. And some people post every day. Some people, this is their sole occupation. And you will see headlines from people saying how I made $100,000 on blogging on Medium in my first year. Well, those are outliers, if they're even telling the truth. But nevertheless, if you post on a daily basis or even a weekly basis, you're gonna get more readership. Just it's a matter of numbers at that point. You can link to your previous posts if they're on the same topic. You can clap. There is always a little clap icon at the bottom of a story. If you like a story, you can clap on that. I guarantee you, the author of the piece you clapped for is going to want to know about you. He's going to want to, he or she will want to look and see who you, what drew you to their article, maybe, maybe find out a little bit more about what you're blogging about, and it
virtually.
could create a following for you. Same with people who like your posts. You can start following them. They may decide to just follow your blog completely rather than just like one of your posts. And then you can submit posts or ideas to popular Medium publications. And there are a variety of publications on Medium that operate almost like a magazine. They even require you to, in many cases, submit a proposal for an article rather than just submitting one, which is the way a lot of magazines operate. If you want to write a story, say for Vanity Fair, and you're a freelancer, you would have to send in a query letter to the editor saying, I would like to write this story. Here is who I'm going to talk to. And then they can say yay or nay to the proposal. Kind of works with a lot of these too. Here are some of the big ones. One of them is called The Startup. That I think that is still the biggest publication, the most widely read publication on Medium. That focuses on work and creativity, things like that. This PS I Love You is really focused on just about any kind of love, even say a love between a parent and a child. It's not just about romantic love, love between friends. The Forge is on personal development. There is a blog devoted to writing or a publication devoted to writing, and the Writing Cooperative. And it's a good place to get advice and encouragement. Better Human is on self-improvement. The Ascent is just a storytelling platform, and they try to keep the storytelling uplifting. And then Slackjaw is devoted to humor writing. So if you like to write sarcastic pieces or satire or something like that, you can try that out. Then you can always hope to be selected by one of the editors. There are editors combing through Medium every day looking for pieces that they would like to play up in one of the sections. So there are a variety of, let me go back to the homepage here. If you notice down here in topics, if I click on the plus sign, it will bring me to all of the topics they have here. And each one of these, if I click on them, say I click on TV, it will bring me up to a page that shows you every article that's been written about a TV show or something like that. And so if they would select one of your articles to feature on here, then you're going to have a lot better chance of getting a big readership. Because anybody who comes here who's interested in this topic in particular is going to see your stuff. So I've had that happen twice. I've been blogging off and on Medium for about little over a year, and I've had 2 articles that have been featured in different sections. They just contacted me to let me know they were doing that. So every now and then you may have that happen. Okay. So those are the publications. You can track your audience. I'm going to get through this and then I'll answer some questions. You can track your audience. If you go to your account up here, you'll slide down to where it says stats. And that will open up an interface like this. And this will allow you to see what kind of attention each of your posts is getting. So you'll see this bar chart to show how overall how you're doing with all of your posts. But down here, you'll see your views, your reads. So views are the number of people who clicked on your story. Reads are the number of viewers who read the entire story. Now that is some kind of estimate. There may be some kind of algorithm that Medium has put in here to kind of determine whether the story was just read or just passed over. But it's pretty sure bet if somebody clicks on your story and a second later is gone, it's not going to count as a read. And the read ratio would be the percentage of reads among your views. And the higher the read ratio, the better. And then fans are essentially going to be anybody who clapped on your piece. So you can look at that every day. And if you are trying to meter any of your pieces and that's when you become a Medium partner. I'll touch on that real quickly, but that's when you can earn a little bit of money. Okay, I'm going to stop here really quick just to answer some questions. So if you title a series of blogs on the same topic, you know, if you're talking about the number of posts and it's all on the same topic, you might want to just come up with a title for your blog and use that instead of your name. And that might be a way to approach that. So you don't have to use your name as the title for your blog. You'll still be the author, but you can come up with some kind of catchy name for your blog. And somebody was wondering about creating a series that you can put them in and schedule them to appear on certain days. I know a lot of platforms allow you to do that. I have never tried to schedule anything, so I'm not sure, but and yeah, I don't think there's a limit on the number of blogs you set up, although, you know, you're going to have one username. So you may have to toy around with that a little bit and see. I'm not absolutely sure what their limitations are there. Okay. I'll just go over really quickly the partner program before we run out of time. If you want to start earning money or try to earn money off your pieces, you can go to medium.com/creators, and that'll prompt you to join the partner program. And from there, they'll set you up, they'll connect with your bank account. they'll walk you through that. They have a payment system called Stripe, and that's where they will send any money that you earn. I think it just sits in a account, and then you can request payment, and it would get, the payment would come through Stripe. I would tell you not to count on, again, not to count on earning a whole lot of money, because I don't know how they determine the distribution, but it's usually pennies that you're going to earn. But when you are posting something, in the edit mode on your post, make sure that there will be a checkbox that says meter my story. You'll want to check that so it is eligible to earn money. And that means that if somebody who is not a paid member, not paying that $5, if they've already read 3 premium stories that month and then they come to yours, they're not going to be able to read it. But I don't think that's going to be I don't think that'll be real frequent. And you can always, they also allow you to set up a share friend link on that same menu. You can use that, and if you want your friends to read it, you can send that link out to them. I think you could probably even put that link on your social media, say on your Facebook page, and they could read it there. Okay. So there are your takeaways on Medium. We're running out of time, so I'm not going to go over them one by one, but I will list these in the email that I send out afterward. I just want to tell you about some other classes coming up. We have one on book publishing, 6 questions to ask when thinking about publishing a book. We have a class on creative writing, and then there is one on building your first website if you want to create your own website for your blog. My next classes are tomorrow. I have one on, I teach a lot of iPhone related classes, one on just the basics of the iPhone, and one on how to take great pictures with your iPhone that walks you through the camera settings in your phone and how to use them to the fullest. And lastly, I want to just alert you to the class notes you'll be receiving. They will be up here, and you will also get some other class suggestions. You can click here to view the schedule, click here to give feedback, and the feedback form will allow you to rate both the class and the guide, which is me, and add comments, criticisms, whatever you want to in the comment box. And you can also, in this box, drop in any suggestion you might have for another class that we might offer on the platform. If you're interested in teaching a class, something you're expert in, we'd love to hear about that too. We are always looking for new guides, new levels of expertise to add to our team. You can also just contact us with questions like that at help@getsetup.io. Again, that's where you can email a request for the recording of this session. And lastly, I hope you can spread the word about Get Setup. We love bringing more people into the fold and reaching out. So a lot to cover. I hope it was helpful, and hope you get inspired to do some blogging. And hope to see you at some other Get Set Up classes.
Scott?
Yes.
Hi, I see you're an Apple person by your computer and your iPhone classes. Do you also use their watch?
No, I am not one of their watch users.
I was hoping you'd teach a class on that. Okay.
Yeah, but that's interesting. That might be something to drop in there in the feedback form about maybe us offering a class on that. I'm sure somebody on our team has an Apple Watch.
Right. Yeah. Just in general. And then do you use the health apps on your phone?
I don't, but
Yeah.
there is a class on the schedule that focuses on that. exclusively on the
Oh,
health.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
do you know the name of it or?
Not off the top of my head, but I think if you go in and you just type in iPhone as a search term
Yeah.
on the homepage, our homepage, you will probably see it listed there. I'm sure you'll see it listed there as a matter of fact. So.
I don't know. I don't see it. It's something that I've been looking for because I think it's such a natural, but I don't see it. Maybe it's there, but I don't see it.
I'm just typing in, let me see.
Like staying safe on iPhone.
Yeah, iPhone
tips and tricks.
health. Let me see what happens.
Um,
You know what? It may be a coming soon class.
Yeah, I did write it. I think I wrote it once like a month ago to suggest it. So maybe they're getting.
Okay, so maybe that is why it's not appearing, because it's not. I think it's personal safety features. Maybe that's it. But that might include some of the health functions on there, because I know there are some, you can put in some medical data into your phone in case you are injured or something, and people need to know your blood type, things like that. So
yeah, definitely that. But they're also, you could calculate your heart rate. You could calculate your blood oxygen.
Yeah.
Which is, if you're working out, is sort of good to know.
Right. There is an iPhone advanced class that I don't teach. My colleague Wade does, but some of that might be covered in that class.
Yeah, I think if there was this, I think because as you know, the iPhone can do so much.
I know.
It's like, so I really feel like if someone could just zoom in on just what they call the health apps on the iPhone, and it's paired with the iWatch.
Yeah.
You sort of need both of those pieces of equipment to make it work.
Right.
Anyway,
right. Yeah.
But
well, I will. I have a meeting this week too, with some of the other guides, and I can bring that up as something we might want to. Creating
that would be great because, I'm not trying to spend your money, but I don't know. I think it's a good companion piece to the phone.
Yeah. No, we're looking for new class ideas, so this is great. So
yeah, but I think again, I'm not trying to spend other people's money either, but I do think the watch does work well with the phone.
Yeah. Great.
All right.
Okay. Well, thanks, Lily.
Thank you.
Okay. Enjoyed spending this hour with you.
I know, it's so weird. I know. I'll get over it. Okay. Thank you, Scott.
Take care.
That's a good question. So when it goes live or when it's recording, so exactly. So it's just recording you, or does it record the speaker's face as well?
It's streaming, so it will record all of us. Yeah.
See, that's why anyway.
So that may be why some people are shy. Yeah. So, but anyway, take care, everybody. I guess everybody's left. Okay. All right. Thanks, Nancy, for your help. Take care.